Greetings, true believers. Well, now it's time to look at the penultimate film of Phase 4 of the MCU, Thor: Love and Thunder. Gore and his daughter Love, the last of the race, struggle in a barren desert. Despite their prayers to their god Rapu, Love dies. The god-killing Necrosword calls to Gore, leading him to Rapu's lush realm. After Rapu cruelly mocks and dismisses Gore's plight, he renounces the god, causing Rapu to strangle him. The Necrosword offers itself to Gore, who kills Rapu with it and vows to kill all gods. Gore is granted the ability to manipulate shadows and produce monsters, but is cursed with the pending death and corruption under the sword's influence. After Gore killed several gods, Thor, who has joined the Guardians of the Galaxy after the Avengers' battle against Thanos, learns of a distress signal from Sif. He parts ways with the team and finds an injured Sif, who learns that Gore's next target is New Asgard. Meanwhile, Dr. Jane Foster, Thor's ex-girlfriend, has been diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer. With medical treatment proving ineffective, she travels to New Asgard hoping that Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, which was poorly fractured by Hela, might heal her. Due to an enchantment unknowingly placed on it years earlier to protect Foster, Mjolnir reforges it bonds itself to her. Thor arrives in New Asgard just as Gore's attack begins. Thor is surprised to find Foster wielding Mjolnir, but teams up with her, Valkyrie, and Korg to fight Gore. The group thwarts Gore, but he escapes, kidnapping several Asgardian children and imprisoning them in the Shadow Realm. The group travels to an Omnipotent city to warn the other gods and ask for help in creating an army. The leader of the gods, Zeus, is unwilling to help, thinking they can remain safe and hidden from Gore in the city. He also believes that Gore will not be able to achieve his stated goal of visiting the realm of eternity, where he will be granted one wish, presumably to destroy all gods. As a security precaution, Gore orders the group's capture to prevent them from exposing the city's location to Gore. When Zeus injures Korg, Thor impales Zeus with his thunderbolt, which Valkyrie steals before they escape to confront Gore in the Shadow Realm. On the way, Thor learns of Foster's cancer diagnosis. The group arrive at the Shadow Realm but are unable to locate the children. Foster sees ancient drawings depicting Thor's battle like Stormbreaker as a way to summon the Bifrost into eternity, and deduces the trap laid out by Gore. She throws away Stormbreaker to prevent Gore from accessing it. However, Gore overpowers the group and threatens to kill Foster, forcing Thor to summon it back. Gore successfully steals Stormbreaker and injures Valkyrie before a weakened Foster collapses. Upon traveling back to New Asgard, Thor discovers that Foster's Thor form is not allowing her body to naturally fight the cancer. Due to this, Thor travels to Eternity's altar alone, and using Zeus's Thunderbolt, imbues the children with his power to fight Gore's monsters while he battles Gore. When Foster senses that Gore is about to kill Thor, she joins the battle with Mjolnir to save him. They destroy the Necrosword, freeing Gore from his influence, but the three are brought into Eternity's realm. With Gore poised to make his wish, Thor implores Gore to revive his daughter instead of destroying the gods. Thor then leaves Gore to make his decision and tends to Foster, who succumbs to her illness and dies in his arms. Moved by their display, Gore wishes for Eternity to revive Love, which it grants. As Gore dies from the curse, he requests Thor to take care of Love. In the aftermath, the children return to New Asgard, where Valkyrie and Sif begin training them, and a monument in honor of Foster is built. Thor adopts Love, who joins him in his heroics, with the former wielding Mjolnir and the latter wielding Stormbreaker. In a mid-credits scene, back in Omnipotent City, a recuperating Zeus sends his son Hercules to kill Thor. In a post-credit scene, Foster arrives at the gates of Valhalla, where Heimdall welcomes her. Oh, that's nice. So now let's take a look at the production of this movie, beginning with the development. Shortly after the release of the third Thor film, Thor Ragnarok, in November 2017, the film's director Taika Waititi and executives from Marvel Studios met to discuss ideas for another film, which was greenlit following the positive responses to Ragnarok. Chris Hemsworth indicated in January 2018 that he was interested in continuing to play Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, despite his contract with Marvel Studios being set to end with his role in Avengers Endgame. By then, Hemsworth and Waititi had discussed what they would want in a potential fourth Thor film, and Hemsworth said a month later that he would consider returning if there was another great script. Tessa Thompson, who plays Valkyrie in the MCU films, believed in April 2019 that a pitch had been made for a Ragnarok sequel that involved Waititi returning. Hemsworth said then that he would continue to play Thor for as long as possible. crediting Waititi with revitalizing his interest in the role after he became exhausted and underwhelming with it prior to making Ragnarok. In July 2019, Waititi officially signed on to write and direct a fourth Thor film, with Hemsworth expected to reprise his role. Waititi was not interested in repeating what they did with Ragnarok. I still wanted to do something more interesting for myself, to keep the whole thing ignited and to make sure that I'm feeling creatively stimulated. Later that month, at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige announced the film as Thor: Love and Thunder, with a release date of November 5th, 2021. Hemsworth, who would also serve as the executive producer, was paid $20 million up front for the film, an increase from the $15 million upfront salary he earned for each of his appearances in Ragnarok, Avengers: Infinity War, and Endgame. Portman agreed to return to the franchise after her character had not been included in Ragnarok, following a single meeting with Waititi, who was given creative freedom from Marvel Studios to reimagine her role in the film, in which she offered to portray the character in a different and fresh way, with the license to be adventurous and fun and funny. Thompson and Feige added that Valkyrie's bisexuality would be addressed in the sequel, retroactively making her the Marvel Studios' first LGBTQ superhero. Marvel Studios executive Brad Winderbaum was producing the film alongside Feige. Don Hartwin, the Minister for the Arts for the Australian state of New South Wales, announced at the end of July that Thor: Love and Thunder would be filmed at Fox Studios Australia and Sydney, back-to-back with Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, with work set to begin on Love and Thunder there in March 2020 and of an August 2020 filming start. The production was said to receive over $24 million, US $18 million, of subsidies from the Australian and New South Wales governments. Marvel Studios Vice President David Grant said shooting the two films back-to-back will provide continuous employment for local crews, with Love and Thunder expected to generate over $178 million Australian dollars, US $134 million for the local economy. And the studio would work with local educational institutions in creating internship opportunities. Jeff Goldblum said in August 2019 that there was a chance he could reprise his Ragnarok role of the Grandmaster in the sequel, and Waititi confirmed in October that he would be reprising his role of Korg from Ragnarok and Endgame. Christian Bale entered talks to join the cast in January 2020, with pre-production expected to begin in April. Thompson confirmed a month later that Bale would star as the villain in the film, while Vin Diesel, who voices Groot in the MCU films, said he had discussed the film with Waititi and had been told the Guardians of the Galaxy would be appearing in it. In early April, Disney shifted much of their Phase 4 slate of films due to the COVID-19 pandemic, moving Thor: Love and Thunder's release date to February 18, 2022. Pre-production on the film was delayed due to the pandemic, with Waititi unsure when production would continue. At the end of the month, Disney moved the release date up to February 11, 2022. By July, filming was set to start in early 2021. And now on to the writing. When announcing the film in July 2019, Waititi said it would adapt elements from Jason Aaron's Mighty Thor comic books by having Foster become a hero called the Mighty Thor. Feige said that the film would include a lot of elements from Marvel Comics, and that the storyline of Foster becoming the Mighty Thor would be an important part. He explained that Marvel considered the Mighty Thor run to be one of the best recent comic books. Waititi read the comic while working on Ragnarok, and when he agreed to direct another Thor film, he told Marvel he wanted to include Foster as the Mighty Thor. The two agreed to adapt Aaron's storyline and include Portman following discussions with Waititi about where the story could lead. Waititi said they stuck close to Foster's storyline from those comics and tried to adapt its best parts. He also explained that Thor having his axe Stormbreaker and then seeing his hammer Mjolnir return in the hands of someone else and no longer being his hammer would explore the idea that someone's taking his place, which he felt some fans assumed would occur, but did not believe this as such. Aaron served as a consultant on the film. And C. Bradley, the head writer of the animated series What If, pitched an episode of that series in which Foster would have become Thor, but the idea was rejected because the storyline was already being used for Love and Thunder. In August, Waititi was reported to have completed a script for the film, but he denied this later that month. While promoting his film Jojo Rabbit in October, Waititi said he had completed the first draft of the screenplay, but the story would change throughout filming and editing. He was assured the film would include the storyline for Aaron's run in which Foster suffers from breast cancer, which he said was a powerful part of the comics. Brilliance of Foster's treatment from cancer will be explored in the film. Excuse me. Waititi added that Marvel was discussing how much time would pass between Endgame and Love and Thunder, and this would affect whether Thor is still carrying the extra weight he is depicted within Endgame, which earned him nicknames like Fat Thor and Bro Thor. Waititi did note that he wanted to keep it changing up with Thor. He's so interesting when he's changing all the time. The film is set 8 years later after Thor and Foster broke up, around 2024. Waititi also acknowledged fans shipping Valkyrie with Carol Danvers / Captain Marvel, but he said he did not intend to include a romantic relationship between the pair because he would rather surprise fans than do something by popular demand. Jennifer Kayla Robinson was hired to work on the film's screenplay with Waititi in February 2020. Waititi received sole screenplay credit on the film's theatrical poster, with Robinson credited with him for the story. But for the final credits from the Writers Guild of America, credited both Waititi and Robinson as the film's writers. Thor: Love and Thunder follows Thor as he attempts to find inner peace, but must return to action and recruit Valkyrie, Korg, and Foster to stop Gorr the God Butcher from eliminating all gods. 4 or 5 drafts of the screenplay had been completed by mid-April 2020, when Waititi said the sequel was so over the top now in the very best way, it would make Ragnarok look like a run-of-the-mill, very safe film, but doubling down on its crazier aspects. He wanted to up the ante and make the film as if 10-year-olds told us what should be in a movie, and we said yes to every single thing. Waititi added the film would explore more of Korg's Kronan culture, and indicated that it would include the space sharks, alien race from the comics. He expressed interest in featuring the character Beta Ray Bill, but was unsure at that point if he would. The film also features Falgar the Behemoth, one of the gods slain by Gorr, the comic wish-granting entity Eternity, Thor's magic goats Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder, beasts of the Norse mythological animals Tangrisnir and Tan-Noster, and Warsong, Valkyrie's winged steed. The steed was renamed from Aragorn, as in the comics, to Warsong for Love and Thunder, after previously appearing unnamed in Ragnarok and Endgame. Waititi had planned to have Jesus make a cameo appearance as part of Cutaway Gag in Infinite City, after Valkyrie mentioned a god of carpentry. At the end of July, Waititi said they had been writing the script off and on for over a year, and when he was taking another pass on it that week. He said it was very romantic, and explained he wanted to make a romance film because he wanted to make something that he had not done before, and as such, wrote the film as a love story. He clearly said the film was about love, with superheroes in outer space, and that he wanted to embrace this thing that I was always a bit dismissive of, and explore this idea of love, and show characters who do believe in love. That October, Hemsworth said Waititi was still writing the script and expressed his excitement for doing something drastically different with this character, as he did in his previous 3 MCU films. Waititi later described Love and Thunder as the craziest film he had ever made and explained that each element was intended to not make sense. It seemed to have its own distinct flavor from Ragnarok, which he called a 1970s space opera with a festive party-like tone. He saw this film as a 1980s adventure, took inspiration from posters for films such as Conan the Barbarian and The Beastmaster, as well as art seen on vans at Venice Beach, with the works of Jack Kirby, and the cover of old Mills and Boon romance novels also serving as visual touchstones for the film. He said it was not serious or dramatic, but did explore themes such as love, loss, and our place in the world, while making the characters ask themselves the questions: what is your purpose? What is the reason you're a hero? And what do you do when you have these powers? James Gunn, the writer and director of the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy films, consulted on how the Guardians characters were used in Love and Thunder, with Gunn and Waititi discussing where the characters were going before Waititi began writing. Waititi read Gunn's script for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is set after Love and Thunder, and then Gunn read Waititi's script and shared his thoughts, asking for some adjustments to be made. In January 2021, Gunn said the Guardians were in great hands with Waititi, and he later praised Waititi's work on the script. Chris Pratt said Love and Thunder would continue the rivalry between Guardians leader Peter Quill / Star-Lord and Thor that was established in Infinity War and Endgame, while Karen Gillan said Waititi brought out the bonker side of Nebula through her pure aggression. And now on to pre-production. Pre-production began in Australia by October 2020. A month later, Chris Pratt was revealed to be reprising his role as Guardians of the Galaxy leader Peter Quill / Star-Lord. Given the ensemble nature of the cast, industry insiders described the film as feeling like Avengers 5. In December, Feige revealed the film's release date film's release was delayed again, this time to May 6, 2022. And Nessa Bale will portray Gore the God Butcher in the film. Jamie Alexander was also revealed to reprise her MCU role, returning as Sif from the first 2 Thor films, alongside other members and allies of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Palm Clemente as Mantis, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Karen Gillan as Nebula, and Sean Gunn as Craiglin Obfonteri. Gunn also provides on-set reference for Guardians member Rocket. Matt Damon was said to appear after making a cameo appearance in Ragnarok as an Asgardian actor playing Loki. He received special permission to enter Australia, despite the country's strict travel restrictions during the pandemic, since Love and Thunder was providing jobs for Australians. This prompted criticism as it was perceived that Damon, who traveled with his family, received preferential treatment to enter when many Australian nationals abroad were unable to return to the country. Sam Neill, who appeared alongside Damon in Ragnarok as an actor playing Odin, said there was a good chance he would be in the film as well, as long as they could travel from New Zealand to Australia during the pandemic. And now on to the filming. Principal photography began on January 26, 2021 at Fox Studio Australia in Sydney under the working title The Big Salad. Barry Bass Iodine started as a cinematographer after previously working with Waititi on the Disney Plus Star Wars series The Mandalorian. Filming was delayed from an initial August 2020 start date due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Industrial Light and Magic provided the same stagecraft visual production technology used in The Mandalorian, which Waititi directed an episode of, creating custom volume space at Fox Studios Australia. It featured more LED panels and offered higher resolution than the original volume created for The Mandalorian. Waititi also used Satellite Labs' Playlight technology after previously using their dynamic light technology in Ragnarok, which is a special rig designed to capture multiple lighting setups simultaneously within a single shot at high frame rate, allowing Waititi to select which lighting setup he would like in post-production. Waititi believed he was able to shoot Love and Thunder more efficiently than Ragnarok due to having experience working on a Marvel Studios film. Filming occurred at Centennial Park in Sydney in early February, Clemente, Gillian, Bautista, and Pratt completing their scenes shortly afterward. In early March, set photos revealed Damon and Neil were reprising their roles as the Asgardian actors playing Loki and Odin, along with Luke Hemsworth in his Ragnarok role as the actor playing Thor. Melissa McCarthy was also revealed to be portraying an actress playing Hela alongside her husband Ben Falcone in an undisclosed role. These cameos were for a sequence where actors reenact scenes from Ragnarok. Damon filmed this part over 2 days. Alexander completed filming her scenes by the end of the month, while Goldblum was confirmed to appear as the Grand Master, and Russell Crowe was revealed to portraying Zeus in what was described as a fun cameo. Crowe was originally set to play Satan in the film before his character was changed to Zeus. Septimus Caden would later be cast as Satan and had a makeup and prosthetic test done, but the character does not appear in the film. Crowe finished filming his scenes in April. At the beginning of May, Waititi said there were 4 weeks left of shooting, while Iodine said he would continue work on the film through the end of 2021. Filming arrived on June 1st, 2021, by which point Neil had revealed that singer Jenny Morris would appear in the film. Goldblum and Peter Dinklage, who was set to reprise his role as Eitri from Infinity War, had their scenes cut from the theatrical release, as did Lena Headey, who was approached by Waititi for a role in the film. Aww. And now finally on to the post-production. Waititi said in early June 2021 that post-production would be completed by February 2022. Later in June, Diesel was confirmed to be reprising his voice role as Groot. In October 2021, the film's release date was delayed to July 8, 2022, while Simon Russell Beale was revealed to be appearing. Additional photography for the film took place in early 2022. At the start of March, further reshoots were revealed to be happening in the coming weeks. It was said to have begun with Bale by the end of March 18th. For the release of the teaser trailer in April, Bradley Cooper was confirmed to be reprising his voice role as Rocket. A month later, Kosia Sabet was revealed to be appearing as the goddess Bast. Following the appearance of Brett Goldstein in the film's mid-credits scene as Hercules, Waititi revealed in July 2020 that Feige really wanted him to be cast for that role. Visual effects for the film were created by Weta FX, Rising Sun Pictures, Framestore, Industrial Light and Magic, Method Studios, Luma Pictures, Reinhold VFX, Base VFX, EDI Effetti Digitali Italiani, Mammoth Studios, Film Plus Design Effects, and Cinesight. Matthew Schmidt, Peter S. Elliott, Tim Roche, and Jennifer Vacchiarello serve as the film's editors. Perception designed the film's main on-end title sequence, drawing inspiration from 80s rock band logos and designing approximately 250 custom fonts for the sequence. Damn. So overall, I think this movie's just okay, and while I don't think it's as good as Ragnarok, it does have some good moments here and there, so yeah. So overall, I give Thor Love and Thunder 3 Captain America shields out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in Fridays as we take a look at the final film of Phase 4 of the MCU, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So until then, in the words of the late great Stan Lee, Excelsior!